Developing success. Better with failure. With Janell Pizarro.
Alrighty, so hi, welcome to the growth mindset and failure. So all of the really fun stuff here. I'm Janell, so let's get started with that. Yay! Alrighty, so the best explanation for growing your intelligence, I guess, is starting off with the growth mindset and understanding that you can actually grow your own intelligence, which is pretty amazing. So what we're going to talk about is what is the growth mindset and how does failure affect your success? How does it make you a better developer, a better person? And how does it change your life? And can I change my mindset? Do I have a fixed mindset? Do I have a growth mindset? How do I change if I do have that fixed kind of mentality? And of course, I'll definitely add some resources so that you can check it out for yourselves. So, hello, I'm Janell. I'm a software engineer at IZEA. I am on the Twitters at Nellaro and on Slack if you're in Orlando at Janell Pizarro. So, hi. I sometimes have pink hair. All right, cool. So, remember the third grade? Back to the days of grade school, like that's for me is for sure third grade is like a pivotal time for me. That's when you're learning like multiplication and everything is going terribly, terribly wrong, at least for me. But the first time I got a really good grade in math, I was extremely proud of myself. So, I mean, I wonder if any of you all have had those kinds of experiences. What was it like when that happened? What happened when you came back home and you're like, look, I did a thing. I'm so proud of myself. I got an A or a B on this assignment. So the options that you get here, you could get excitement, which your parents would probably say, wow, you're so smart. Great job. This is going right on the fridge. Indifference, which, nothing is said about it at all. Or they tell you, that studying you did was really great. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the good work. And that's really, really cool, right? That those are the kind of options that you get from your parents. My parents were pretty indifferent, but that's another story. So now, anytime in your history, let's think about when you didn't do something so well. Let's say you didn't get that A on the test that you really needed, or you failed to meet a deadline at work. Another thing is, if you are kind of like in soccer, like my brothers were, they would, get to a stalemate in soccer and just be completely defeated, right? So what happened this time when you actually failed? Did you come back and did you say things like, I'm not good enough to make these grades? I just didn't have what it takes to win or to be the best person that I could have been that day? Or did you get excuses? Did you find that you would say things like, the teacher clearly doesn't like me, or the material was way too hard, they didn't tell me what the material was going to be on, or for example, with that soccer kind of scenario, there were kids that were a lot stronger and obviously 16 when I'm 12, right? Or are you inquisitive? Do you ask questions? Do you say, I see that I got these questions wrong? I mean, do you have the time to kind of talk about it and go through with this with me? So for me, again, like I said, my parents were always pretty indifferent about it. My mom never looked at my grades unless I came home pretty distraught. And, I can't really hide my emotions from my face. So yeah, she would tell me and she'd be like, you're better than that. Study harder and fix it. Which is a little kind of hard, right? As a kid, like, okay, what's going on with my life? Like, why is my parent being like this? But, oddly enough, the things your parents say can really affect you throughout your entire lives, right? Like, where have you heard that before? So the growth mindset is, simply put, a notion that intelligence can be cultivated, that you can actually grow your own intelligence. You don't have to stay stuck where you are. And I think that's really important for us as developers to know that we can grow that mentality. We can continually get better at what we do, not just as developers, but as people as well. For example, Sal Khan, he is the founder of Khan Academy, will not tell his children that they're smart, which is part of the growth mindset. So what he says is, I decided to praise my son not when he succeeded at things he was already good at, but when he persevered with things that he found difficult. I stressed to him that by struggling, your brain grows. And I want you all to really think of that. Like, this is someone who's created a huge, thriving business and company and is teaching other people how to code and how to do lots of great things and change their lives. And he tells his children too, he's not going to tell them that they're ever smart. He's going to say, I'm proud of your struggle. I'm proud of your hard work. Keep it up, which is really telling to me. But I think a lot of us at this point are saying, like, that's just a lie. There's so many people around that are like incredible developers, and I don't understand how that is even a thing. And it's tough, right? Like, I'm sure most of you know someone where things seem to come naturally to them. I think this is especially true of career paths like ours. We see the engineers at work dominate, like just completely dominate their tasks with beautifully written code. And it's just incredible to see. And we also go to meetups and conferences, like Alyssa said, and these speakers and these attendees have so much to offer, and they always know everything, right? They're, the first people to try React, and they've got this huge, awesome running thing in Vue, and have tried every single language possible and know everything about everything, right? And it's really daunting and kind of intimidating at times. And it's really a big part of our imposter syndrome as well. I know that a lot of us suffer from, feeling that huge imposter syndrome, like we cannot get anything right for the life of us, right? So, however, I'm sure most, if not all of these people have adopted a growth mindset either from childhood or they learned it, because that's the whole point of a growth mindset, which is really awesome. So failure is the creator of success. And that's what I really want to talk about is failure, right? It's the seed that grows businesses and empires, and really it grows mindsets. This is what makes you the best you possible. Without failure, we can't be who we are. And that's kind of awesome, right? And I know you're probably all thinking like, okay, so you're talking about failure. What does that have to do with me, right? It just means that you can get smarter and you will fail. And in turn, you will get smarter, right? What I want to do is make sure that I'm giving you the perfect recipe for success, at least to start off with, and you can grow it on your own, which is really cool. So you can get smarter. Building knowledge can be had with effort. As long as you put in that hard work and that time, and you're asking those questions at work, or even when you're, doing things, just learning, maybe you're building something, not even code-wise, you're just building something for your home, like a bookshelf from IKEA. And, asking those questions like, how do you do this? Looking on YouTube is a huge thing, right? It really does build your smarts. And you will fail. So you might actually fail at building that bookshelf. That's okay. The way that we handle this failure is the way that we grow and that we actually do obtain that knowledge. Alrighty, so it's a cyclical kind of thing, getting smarter and failing. So the only way that you can get smarter is through failure. Alrighty, so as developers, we really need to make sure that we are embracing challenges, we're thriving with criticism, and that we persist when there are setbacks. This is true of a lot of career paths, but I believe with our field, I think this is a little bit kind of, stronger, because we are going to get those tasks that are absolutely daunting, right? And they seem extremely hard. And once we get through them, we're very proud of ourselves at the other side, right? But also, we can get tasks that seem very, very, very simple. You might think that moving a button, 2 pixels to the left is not going to break 18 tests, but you'd be surprised. And you also need to thrive with criticism. So you need to make sure that when people are saying, hey, it'd be really cool if you could not write your code the way that you're writing your code and maybe fix it a little bit, or, just, the nicer way of that. That you are taking that in stride and you're saying, well, what are the positives about what they're saying? What are they helping me with something? Are they helping me grow? You can really grow through other people's feedback, which is really awesome. And people with the growth mindsets also persist when there are setbacks. So those deadlines that you can miss, that are kind of terrifying when you do get close to that deadline or when you do miss that deadline. We do want to make sure that we're persisting and that we are saying, you know what, yes, this deadline did happen. It's gone, but I'm still going to get this done, and this is going to be done beautifully, and I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. So this is a really awesome graph that I really like. From having the 2 different mindsets, so you can kind of see what a fixed mindset is versus a growth mindset. And a fixed mindset is someone who kind of recoils at challenges and doesn't really do well with trying extremely hard. And when you get criticism, you're kind of just standoffish. That's not really fun, right? Like, that's just, you get to a point where you can only achieve certain amounts of success with a fixed mindset. You don't grow, you don't learn, you don't thrive, you stay stuck in where you are. And that can be really frustrating. But the really cool thing about, knowing that there is a growth mindset and having that mentality is that you can actually, change your mindset, and you could actually build it and say, well, you know what, how about I work a little bit at a time at tackling this problem. And so you start picking up things, you start, challenging yourself, whether it be at work or outside of work. For example, as a front-end developer, being challenged to do something like open source software, right? That you haven't done before, contributing to open source. That is an awesome challenge to start off with if you do feel that you have gotten into a fixed mindset kind of mentality. Feel those challenges and grow with that. And this is another really cool thing that I found that really kind of resonated with me. So this is kind of how you can tell whether or not you have a fixed mindset as opposed to a growth mindset. And it's kind of things that you can hear yourself say some of the time. So when things are too hard and you're just like, well, I'm done for the day. I'm about to go just eat all of the chocolate in the world and be done with it. Instead of doing, eating chocolate and being sad about what you didn't do, take a break instead, and then come back to it. Come back to it when you've gotten that breather and you can go at it full throttle, right? Because we do want to take breaks as well. But I really, really, really love this because it not only helps with that imposter syndrome, but it for sure helps you realize, hey, am I in the best mindset right now? Is my reaction to failure the best kind of reaction? So the positive thinking here is really the best kind of viewpoint, I believe, to start your motivation and help with taking that first step to what can seem like really, really, really hard effort. And effort is what makes you grow your mentality. So I kind of want to take it back a little bit and introduce you all to this man. This man is Tim, and he seems like a pretty normal, awesome guy, right? So Tim is actually an author. And he is also a podcaster, and he's a weightlifter, and he's a million other things. He is a huge growth-minded individual for sure. So one of the stories that I really, really enjoy about Tim Ferriss is a story that he likes to say a lot as well, about when he was in college. And he had this kind of this class where, as long as he would go to, or any of the students would go to office hours and speak to the TA, they could get extra credit. And so you actually had to, go, you couldn't just be there, once or twice or whatever, and just kind of deal with it. So most people would go to this office hours kind of at the beginning of the year or the semester, or they would go when they're really struggling, or, it just wouldn't be an everyday occurrence. So what Tim did is whenever he got questions wrong, he would go to the office hours. But when he would get questions right, he would go to office hours. And this means that he was literally at office hours every time that there were office hours, and asking, well, why did this happen? I got this right, but I don't understand why. Or I got this wrong, and I'm a little confused as to why. And it came to a point where the TA was just like, this guy is going to come in every single day. Like, he's got it. Like, he's got it. So the TA would have give him extra credit just to kind of, push him away. But he really learned a lot from that. And that's how he grew his business in the future, right? He's the author of the 4-Hour Workweek, which is essentially how he trained his TA to give him extra credit without, having to do a ton of work except for asking questions, which he ended up learning a lot about, right? And he is one of the most well-known podcasters, very, 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 very huge, lots of followers. So this man's just super awesome, and he's got that growth-minded mentality. He's really asking as many questions as possible. Granted, he was training his TA, but Alrighty, so back to failure. So learning from other people's failures, your coworkers, etc., can really help you grow professionally, as well as exercising your mindset. You can also have better problems when you fail. And that sounds a little wonky, but if you've ever read The Subtle Art of Not Giving, it goes into a lot bigger detail about what failure can do to give you better problems, right? You always want to have better problems, right? You don't want to, have a really, really terrible, horrible problem. You want to have really good problems. That was really weird. I couldn't explain that very well. You also want to help combat the onslaught of imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is real and affects almost everyone in the industry. But if we realize that we are all failing, we're not all just winning all the time. We have small battles that we go through all the time. That can kind of help us combat that. And, seeing the positive in the struggle is a really, really good way to continue learning from your failures. Be grateful when the large successes come your way, or even the small ones. Getting excited that, you did change that button color is exciting. And that might seem really small, but think about when you first started learning how to code. That would have been kind of crazy, right? You would have been Googling for at least 20 minutes just to change a color, right? So it's really exciting. I also believe that you should work for companies that help you hone your failures. You want to work for a company that sees that you fail because they thrive. That company itself thrives. A company that can see failures as opportunity for growth is an incredible company. You want to keep them around as long as possible. That doesn't mean, that they constantly let you just not show up to work and things like that. But, fail when you're working hard. You thrive at a company that helps you hone your failures as well. So when you're not afraid of making mistakes, you grow, you learn, you ask questions, you're able to talk to your peers and let them know hey, this is a conversation that we can have about this new build system that we have, or you can kind of join in on those really big conversations, which is really great. And you can be that person that people will look up to have those answers, which is really great. And everyone grows in a company that helps hone your failures. A company that looks to grow through failure and responding with team building questions and inter-community action gets results. So a lot of the time is when a company can acknowledge that they fail as well, really kind of helps you with that too, because it is that relationship that you want to see kind of almost transparency all the way around. You want to see that they're learning from their failures and growing from them, just when you're learning from your failures and growing from them too. So to recap, we want to make sure that we fail, and we fail as much as possible, but we learn from it. And failing to learn is failing to learn. Oh my goodness. When you fail, you learn. And then when you learn, you grow your mindset. And you just continually do that in succession. And that's how you will grow and you will become more intelligent. So thank you. If you have any questions, you can find me on Twitter. And yeah, I can also send you all these really awesome resources and these books that I really, really love, like Carol Dweck's Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, which is the whole study of growth mindsets and failure. And The Subtle Art is also a really great one on failure. And these here, these three little links that you can see there, are also help with failure and how to hone your skills when you do fail. So thank you.
Thanks for watching.